What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade coming to y'all with the news around the league, hottest topics, analysis. Obviously, we're gonna talk about free agency and things that's been rumored or things that has officially happened for another day in the NBA. And we're just gonna start off with the biggest news. The Rockets choose to decline N'Faly Dante 2-year, $4.5 million offer sheet with the Atlanta Hawks. Um, that was something that we knew probably most likely would happen. Um, Dante was a restricted free agent after the Rockets tendered a qualifying offer that ended up allowing him to become a free agent almost. And they were just saying, will he take that? And he ended up getting an offer sheet because Dante, if you want to know what he did last year, he appeared in 4 games last season with the Rockets, averaging 6 points and 5.2 rebounds in 12.7 minutes. Not the craziest number, it doesn't blow you away, but the guy is young and he does have potential as a big man in this league. He's only 23 years old. And, he still gave you 6 points, 5 boards on 76% from the field in the 2024-2025 NBA season, although it wasn't a large sample size. But he did also play in the G League for 42 games. He ended up averaging 15 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 2.1 blocks. He only played 26.8 minutes. Those are really good numbers. Obviously, you want to see him up to competition to see if he can really hang in the NBA a little bit more, to see if he's really worth investing more money and more opportunities in. We'll see what he does in the future. But Dante also averaged, like I said, the 6.7 points and 3 rebounds and 1.3 assists in 15 minutes in 3 summer league games with the Rockets. They kept letting him play. They kept trying to try him out. They kept trying to see what he can do um, at the end of the day. But it is interesting to see, like, why didn't the Rockets want to continue to use him when they gave him so much, opportunities to try to impress him? Because $4.5 million, if we're gonna be honest with you, is really nothing in today's NBA, especially because it's a 2-year deal. You basically getting this man for basically really nothing when it comes to money. But that's why the Hawks looked at it like, we can offer him 4.5 million in 2 years. That's not going to hurt us. Plus, we want another big that's mobile and athletic and that can protect the rim a little bit. And he has the most upside and he has the good age to be able to figure things out. And the Hawks said, let's make our move. And the Rockets said, we're fine with that. We'll just let him go. We're not going to match. We're not going to give him the money that he wants or he signed with y'all for. We'll just let him go. And I really wasn't expecting that, but it ended up happening. And, that's the whole purpose of free agency, to get paid and go to a team where it's mutual. And that's what ended up happening with Dante. It ended up going that way for him. Now he gets another environment. Now he gets another chance to prove himself. And we get to see what he does. Lester and the Orlando Magic also agreed to a contract. Uh, it ended up being a two-way. He's represented by Scott Wong in 13 games last season with the New Orleans Pelicans and Philadelphia 76ers. Lester ended up averaging 6 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist in 14 minutes. The Pelicans released him from his two-way contract in July, which we knew already because I covered that a couple weeks ago. But he did also average 21.6 rebounds, 4 assists in 36 minutes across 41 G League games. They had a need for scoring. They had a need for somebody that can fill that role. And Lester was able to do that successfully in the G League. But in 5 summer league games, he averaged 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists in 21 minutes. Not something that, makes it seem like he's needed or really wanted that much. It just made him look a little bit more expendable and a little bit more replaceable. which is unfortunate for him because he actually seemed like he liked that uh, role for either the Pelicans or the Sixers, but it is a business, so you're not going to be able to stay with the teams you like or stay with the rosters that you like because they're going to be going in and out just like he just was. But it's still good to see a team interested in him and willing to give him a chance and opportunity. And this time it's the Orlando Magic. So they're a team that needs scoring. They're a team that need guys that can come in and give them, a burst of energy, and hopefully he can do that for him. But if he plays with the G League for them also, it just continues to let him develop, continues to see what he can bring to the table on a consistent basis. We know for sure he can rebound. We know for sure he can score a little bit too. And we know for sure he's an unselfish player. So maybe that ends up giving him more opportunities in Orlando than they did in New Orleans and Philly. But it's still good to see him play double figure games in the NBA, showing you that he's a legitimate player, possibly in this league. It just a different team can change how you're playing, how you're functioning, how you impact the game, because every team has its own needs and wants from you, and we'll see what he's able to do in Orlando. Jalen McDaniels and the Pelicans agreed to a contract. Um, this was something I wasn't really expecting. It came out of nowhere. New Orleans had open standard spot on their regular season roster and approximately $4.2 million under the luxury tax. But McDaniel still appeared in 4 NBA games with the Washington Wizards last season. The 6'9" forward has always played for the Charlotte Hornets, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Toronto Raptors during his 6-year NBA career, which is good. But in 38 G League games with the Capital City Go Go last season, McDaniels only averaged 13.7 boards per game. Not not the numbers you would have thought that he would average with that type of height and that type of wingspan, that type of body. But until you can be a good perimeter scorer, it can be tough, in general, to get points consistently. He understands that obviously is a glaring weakness. This is something that's obvious in most players around that size. Most of them are athletic, most of them are bouncy and quick, but it doesn't really work, to your advantage in the NBA, since somebody that is offending you either gonna push you to the paint to score over a big man, or they're gonna stay in front of you and make you take a tough shot, or you're gonna have to find a way to give up that basketball and try to score in a different way, because if you're not a good one-on-one player and you can't create your own shot, it's difficult to eat in the NBA because they look at you as a replaceable player. But at least in the G League, he still was able to get over double figures and rebound the ball well. But he doesn't really seem like a stamped NBA player. It seems like it's going to take him a little bit longer to be able to get a legitimate NBA role. And if it doesn't go that way, he's going to always be one of the guys that's fighting for a roster spot each and every season, because they're always looking for somebody better first. Then they'll get to him if they can't find it, which is a tough situation to be in if you're an NBA player. But it happens to a lot of those guys. That's why he got picked up so late in the summer. The Miami Heat unlikely to sign a backup center for the Miami Heat fans out there. Um, the position could be addressed with a trade by signing a player to a two-way contract. That would be the way to do it. The Heat have 14 players under their standard deals and two ways. The Heat worked out Kai Jones last week, and they also been linked with Trey Lyles, and Jones is not eligible to sign a two-way contract, so they can't go in that direction. Nikola Jovic could serve as Miami backup center if Eris Spoelstra starts Khalil Ware alongside Bam Adebayo, which we have seen him do legitimately for basically last year. It ended up being a lineup that he liked after a couple months, and it looks like a legit one, honestly. The Heat depth chart has typically been thin at the center position in recent seasons, but it is hard to find legitimate 7-footers that have skill and good rim protection and good rebounding. Those are things you have to have if you're a center, and they understand that most guys try to find a way to be that because they know that's going to give them minutes. They know that's going to give them a good paycheck, because you can't teach height, especially when they have those abilities. But also those guys are hard to find because those guys are priorities for every team. And Miami just hasn't been a destination for most players lately. And they do have winning situations usually each and every year. But for some reason, people are not really crazy over Miami right now. And that's been one of the reasons why they haven't been able to get a lot of talent. The Minnesota Timberwolves did choose to waive Jesse Edwards in 34 games with the Timberwolves of the for the G League. He averaged 11.9 points, 7 rebounds, 1.8 blocks. The 7-footer signed his two-way qualifying offer with the Minnesota Timberwolves earlier this season, but the team was reportedly trying to bring back Tristan Newton on a two-way deal. Newton will join Enrique Freeman and center rookie Rocco as the Timberwolves two-way players this season, which means he wasn't good enough to make the last cut, which is something that hurts a lot. You think you got it, you can't wait to play, you can't wait to show what you got. And then they say, we're going in a different direction. Unfortunately, you ain't the guy that we need. And there's nothing you can really do but just move forward. And that's something that you don't really want to do. You want to be able to work it out with the team that tried you out because it's so hard to make another roster around this time because the rosters are basically full or close to being full. And now you have to find a way to prove yourself all over again to a team that might not even look at you as a desirable player for them. But it is what it is. Suns hired Paul Jesperson as head coach of their G League team, for people that didn't know that. Will Scott also hired by Kings as a G League head coach too. Drew Smith and the Heat agreed to a 3-year contract. Um, that's the biggest news besides the Boston Celtics signing Ron Harper Jr. to a contract. We knew he'd be off the table. And it's just good that the Celtics was able to get him. But the Harper went to train with the Celtics last season. The 6'4" guard then played 15 games with the main team in the G League before signing a two-way contract with the Detroit Pistons in early January. So the Celtics basically had their eye on Ron Harper Jr. for a long period of time, and they thought that he'd be good for them. And now in 38 G League total games for the main in the Motor City Cruise, he showed that he can play. He averaged 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. And that was good enough to get him a contract with the Celtics. And we'll see if he's able to stay on the roster or if he's going to be gone quickly. And that's something I'm going to keep an eye out on since I'm a Celtics fan. And then Drew Smith, like I said, and the Heat agreed to a 3-year contract. I didn't expect him to get a deal that long. But Smith is out of two-way eligibility with Miami. He needed to be signed to a standard deal. Smith has elevated himself from a two-way contract to a regular season rotation player in each of the last 2 seasons. Unfortunately, both seasons ended prematurely with a major injury in 2023 and 24. Smith suffered a torn ACL last season. The 6'2" guard suffered a torn Achilles, some brutal injuries, but he kept bouncing back and kept fighting to be an NBA player. And in 14 games last season, he averaged 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 steal in 19 minutes per game. He also shot 51% from the field, including 53% from 2 attempts, 3-point shots a game. So he showed that he can knock down the 3. He showed that he can score that basketball basically anywhere on the floor or the court. And that's something that you have to do to differentiate yourself from the competition. And like I said, they would have given him a 2 if they could have. But since they couldn't, they said, we'll sign you, man. You bounced back. You fought. You really gave it your all to be able to become back a solid NBA rotational player. All we can say is he deserves it. He worked his butt off for it, and now he has an opportunity to prove himself all over again this season and also in the future. I just hope that he was able to stay under his contract because it's something that he's going to need for security. And when you have those type of injuries, that's something that you're looking for, and you can't really blame him at all for doing that for his best interest and for his agent too. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share, notification bell for more analysis. And if you're new to the channel, I do conversation videos just like this about various NBA only topics. I also do breakdowns with real footage of legends, current legends, rookies, and also future stars. I also do mock drafts and draft coverage also. So if you love that type of content, you can't get enough of it. This is the channel for you. Plus, I have over 3,000 plus videos that's already on my channel that you can watch and you can enjoy. Not only that, I also upload videos basically each and every day. So if you love NBA content, you can't get enough, you want more and more, you can look at this channel as a form of entertainment, but it also gives you what you need when it comes to basketball content. Not only that, thanks for watching. Thanks for appreciating the content for what it is. Thanks for always making time for me and caring about what I have to say and what I think about NBA things. And thank y'all for continuing to say subscribe, and thank y'all for supporting me even in the past. Hope you guys continue to support me in the prison and hopefully in the future. Other than that, I'm going for today. Hopefully see you guys later today or tomorrow. If not, we see when each other when it's meant to be. I'm going for now. Y'all stay blessed up. Peace. And y'all do well. Hope you guys are doing well.